Imagine this scenario. You are in your bedroom, organizing some clothes. You realize you need a pair of scissors to cut a tag off a new shirt. You know exactly where the scissors are. They are in the kitchen drawer. You leave the bedroom, walk down the hallway, and step into the kitchen. And suddenly, your mind goes completely blank. You stop in the middle of the kitchen, you look at the fridge, you look at the stove, you look at the countertops, but you have absolutely no idea what you are looking for. The thought of the scissors has vanished into thin air. You stand there feeling confused and slightly foolish. After a minute of pointless searching, you give up. You walk back down the hallway and return to your bedroom. And the very second you step back inside, boom! The memory returns instantly. You need the scissors. This has happened to you. It happens to everyone. When we experience this sudden memory loss, we usually react with a mix of frustration and fear. We joke about getting old. We worry that our brain is starting to fail. We wonder if this is an early sign of cognitive decline or a memory disease. It is a frightening feeling when your own brain suddenly betrays you over such a simple task. But you do not need to worry. Your brain is not failing. It is not glitching or showing signs of disease. In fact, it is doing the exact opposite. Your brain is working perfectly. It is executing a highly advanced evolutionary survival mechanism. Psychologists have spent years studying this exact moment of forgetfulness. They have given this strange phenomenon a very specific name. It is called the doorway effect. To understand the doorway effect, we first need to understand how human memory actually works. Most of us have a completely wrong idea about our own memory. We imagine our brain as a continuous security camera. We think it records one long, unbroken video of our entire day. We assume that to remember something, we just need to rewind the tape and find the right moment. But neuroscience shows us that memory does not work like a video camera at all. Your working memory, which handles your immediate thoughts and tasks, has a very limited capacity. It cannot hold everything at once. Instead of a continuous video, your brain organizes your experiences into separate, individual chapters. Think of your brain as a computer organizing files into different folders. When you are in your bedroom deciding to get the scissors, your brain creates an active mental folder. Let us call this folder Bedroom Context. Everything happening right now goes into this folder. The clothes you are holding, the lighting in the room, and the thought that you need scissors. As long as you stay in the bedroom, this folder remains open and active on your mental desktop. The problem occurs when you leave the room. When you physically cross the threshold of the doorway to exit the bedroom, your brain registers a major shift. Psychologists Gabriel Radvansky and David Copeland from the University of Notre Dame conducted extensive research on this. They discovered that crossing a physical doorway creates what they call an event boundary in the human mind. An event boundary is a psychological marker. It tells your brain that one episode has ended and a completely new episode is beginning. Because your working memory has limited space, it must be highly efficient. When you pass through that doorway, your brain decides the bedroom context chapter is officially over. It takes the entire mental folder, including the thought about the scissors, and files it away in your long-term storage. It clears out your short-term mental RAM to make space for whatever is coming next. Then, as you step into the kitchen, your brain opens a brand new, completely empty folder called Kitchen Context. This is why you freeze in the middle of the kitchen. You are trying to find the scissors, but you are looking inside a brand new, completely empty mental folder. The memory was not deleted. It still exists in your brain, but it is locked away inside the old bedroom folder that your brain just closed and stored. It is exactly like trying to find a specific document on your computer while searching in the wrong folder. The file is there, but you cannot access it until you go back to the original location. Dr. Radvansky proved how powerful this effect is through a series of fascinating experiments. He tested people in real physical rooms, and he also tested them using computer screens in virtual reality. The test subjects had to carry virtual objects from one table to another. Sometimes they walked across a massive open room with no walls. Other times they walked the exact same distance but passed through a virtual doorway. The results were incredible.
Wow.
The physical distance did not matter. The time it took did not matter. The only thing that caused memory failure was passing through the doorway. Even in a video game, passing through a door caused the brain to wipe its working memory. The event boundary is a deeply ingrained psychological reflex, not just a physical one. You might be thinking, why would our brains evolve to do something so annoying? Why would evolution give us a brain that constantly sabotages our daily tasks? It actually makes perfect sense when you look back at human history. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors lived in a very dangerous world. Moving from one environment to another was a matter of life and death. When an early human walked out of a safe, familiar cave and stepped into a dark, unknown forest, their brain needed to react instantly. The forest was a completely new context. It could hide deadly predators, rival tribes, or new sources of food. The brain could not afford to waste processing power thinking about what happened back in the safe cave. It needed 100% of its focus on the new environment. It had to clear the old memory cache immediately to process new, potentially dangerous information. This rapid mental reset kept our ancestors alive. It allowed them to adapt instantly to new surroundings. Today, we have inherited this exact same survival mechanism. Our brains are still running this ancient, highly effective software. The only difference is that today, we use this advanced survival tool to navigate between completely harmless living rooms, kitchens, and bathrooms. This mechanism is so sensitive that it does not even require us to stand up and walk. We experience digital doorway effects every single day. Have you ever been scrolling on your phone, decided to check an email, switched to the email app, and instantly forgotten what you wanted to write? The transition from one app screen to another acts as a visual event boundary. Your brain sees the context change, closes the previous mental folder, and wipes your working memory clean for the new app. The same thing happens when you open a new tab on your web browser and stare blankly at the search bar. Now that you know your brain is not failing, how can you stop the doorway effect from ruining your day? The secret is to prevent the brain from closing the active mental folder when you cross an event boundary. You must keep the information at the very front of your working memory. The most effective way to do this is to verbalize the item. As you walk from the bedroom to the kitchen, say the word out loud repeatedly. Scissors, scissors, scissors. By speaking and hearing the word, you force the brain to keep that specific file open and active, overriding the automatic reset triggered by the doorway. If you do not want to talk to yourself, you can use a physical anchor. If you are going to get scissors, make a cutting motion with your fingers and hold that posture while you walk. If you are going to get a glass of water, hold your hand as if you are already holding a cup. This connects the memory to your physical body. When you cross the doorway, your brain tries to close the mental folder, but the physical sensation in your hand acts as an anchor, pulling the memory across the boundary into the new room. The human brain is an absolute marvel of biology. It processes unimaginable amounts of data every second to keep us safe and functioning. The doorway effect is not a sign of weakness, old age, or cognitive decline. It is proof that your brain is highly organized, incredibly efficient, and constantly working to protect you from the unknown. So the next time you walk into a room and forget why you are there, take a moment to appreciate your own biology. Your brain just executed a flawless survival protocol.
Yes!
Now, you just have to walk back to the other room to remember where you left the scissors.